Marcovaldo by Italo Calvino. Winter 20. Santa's Children. No period of the year is more gentle and good for the world of industry and commerce than Christmas and the weeks preceding it. From the streets rise the tremulous sound of the mountaineers' bagpipes, and the big companies, till yesterday coldly concerned with calculating gross product and dividends, open their hearts to human affections and to smiles. The sole thought of boards of directors now is to give joy to their fellow men, sending gifts accompanied by messages of goodwill both to other companies and to private individuals. Every firm feels obliged to buy a great stock of products from a second firm to serve as presents to third firms, and those firms for their part buy from yet another firm further stocks of presents for the others. The office windows remain aglow till late, especially those of the shipping department, where the personnel work overtime wrapping packages in boxes. Beyond the misted panes on the sidewalks covered by a crust of ice, the pipers advance. Having descended from the dark, mysterious mountains, they stand at the downtown intersections, a bit dazzled by the excessive lights, by the excessively rich shop windows, and, heads bowed, they blow into their instruments. At that sound among the businessmen the heavy conflicts of interest are placated and give way to a new rivalry, to see who can present the most conspicuous and original gift in the most attractive way. At Spav and Company that year, the Public Relations Office suggested that the Christmas presents for the most important persons should be delivered at home by a man dressed as Santa Claus. The idea won the unanimous approval of the top executives. A complete Santa Claus outfit was bought. White beard, red cap, and tunic edged in white fur, big boots. They had the various delivery men try it on to see whom it fitted best, but one man was too short and the beard touched the ground, another man was too stout and couldn't get into the tunic, another was too young, yet another was too old, and it wasn't worth wasting makeup on him. While the head of the personnel office was sending for other possible Santas from the other various departments, the assembled executives sought to develop the idea. The Human Relations Office wanted the employees' Christmas packages also to be distributed by Santa Claus at a collective ceremony. The Sales Office wanted Santa to make a round of the shops as well. The Advertising Office was worried about the prominence of the firm's name, suggesting that perhaps they should tie 4 balloons to a string with the letters SBAV. All were caught up in the lively and cordial atmosphere spreading through the festive, productive city. Nothing is more beautiful than the sensation of material goods flowing on all sides, and with it the goodwill each feels towards the others. For this, above all, as the scrolling sound of the pipes remind us, is what really counts. In the shipping department, goods, material and spiritual, passed through Marcovaldo's hands, since it represented merchandise to load and unload. And it was not only through loading and unloading that he shared in the general festivity, but also by thinking that at the end of that labyrinth of hundreds of thousands of packages, there awaited a package belonging to him alone, prepared by the Human Relations Office, and even more by figuring how much was due him at the end of the month, counting the Christmas bonus and his overtime hours. With that money, he too would be able to rush to the shops and buy, to give presents, as his most sincere feelings in the general interest of industry and commerce decreed. The head of the personnel office came into the shipping department with a fake beard in his hand. "Hey, you," he said to Marcovaldo, "see how this beard looks on you." "Perfect. You're Santa, then. Come upstairs. Get moving. You'll be given a special bonus if you make 50 home deliveries per day." Got up as Santa Claus, Marcovaldo rode through the city on the saddle of the motorbike truck laden with packages wrapped in varicolored paper, tied with pretty ribbons, and decorated with twigs of mistletoe and holly. The white cotton beard tickled him a little, but it protected his throat from the cold air. His first trip was to his own home because he couldn't resist the temptation of giving his children a surprise. At first he thought, "They won't recognize me. I bet they'll laugh." The children were playing on the stairs. They barely looked up. "Hi, Papa." Marcovaldo was let down. "Don't you see how I'm dressed?" "How are you supposed to be dressed?" Petruchio asked. "Like Santa Claus, right? And you recognized me first thing?" "Easy. We recognized Signor Sigismondo, too, and he was disguised better than you, and the janitor's brother-in-law. And the father of the twins across the street, and the uncle of Ernestina, the girl with the braids. All dressed like Santa Claus? Marcovaldo asked, and the disappointment in his voice wasn't due only to the failure of the family surprise, but also because he felt that the company's prestige had somehow been impaired. Of course, just like you, the children answered, like Santa Claus, with a fake beard as usual. And turning their backs on him, the children became absorbed again in their games. It so happened that the public relations office of many firms had the same idea at the same time, and they had recruited a great number of people, jobless for the most part, pensioners, street vendors, and had dressed them in the red tunic with the cotton wool beard. The children the first few times had been amused, recognizing acquaintances under that disguise, neighborhood figures, but after a while they were jaded and paid no further attention. The game they were involved in seemed to absorb them entirely. They had gathered on a landing and were seated in a circle. "May I ask what you're plotting?" Marcovaldo inquired. "Leave us alone, Papa. We have to fix our presents." "Presents for who?" "For a poor child. We have to find a poor child and give him presents." "Who said so?" "It's in our school reader." Marcovaldo was about to say, "You're poor children yourselves." But during this past week he had become so convinced that he was an inhabitant of the land of plenty, where all purchased and enjoyed themselves and exchanged presents, that it seemed bad manners to mention poverty, and he preferred to declare, "Poor children don't exist any more." Michelino stood up and asked, "Is that why you don't bring us presents, Papa?" Marcovaldo felt a pang at his heart. "I have to earn some overtime now," he said hastily, "and then I'll bring you some." How do you earn it?" "Delivering presents," Marcovaldo said. "To us?" "No, to other people." "Why not to us? It'd be quicker." Marcovaldo tried to explain. "Because I'm not the human relations Santa Claus. After all, I'm the public relations Santa Claus. You understand?" "No." "Never mind." But since he wanted to somehow to apologize for coming home empty-handed, he thought he might take Michelino with him on his round of deliveries. "If you're good, you can come and watch your papa taking presents to people," he said, straddling the seat of the little delivery wagon. "Let's go. Maybe I'll find a poor child," Michelino said, and jumped on, clinging to his father's shoulders. In the streets of the city, Marcovaldo encountered only other red and white Santas, absolutely identical with him, who were driving panel trucks or delivery carts or opening the doors of shops for customers laden with packages or helping carry their purchases to the car. And all these Santas seemed concentrated, busy, as if they were responsible for the operation of the enormous machine of the holiday season. And exactly like them, Marcovaldo ran from one address to another, following his list, dismounted from his seat, sorted the packages in the wagon, selected one, presented it to the person opening the door, pronouncing the words, "Spav and Company wish a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year," and pocketed the tip. This tip could be substantial, and Marcovaldo might have been considered content, but something was missing. Every time before ringing out a door, followed by Michelino, he anticipated the wonder of the person who, on opening the door, would see Santa Claus himself standing there before him. He expected some fuss, curiosity, gratitude, and every time he was received like the postman who brings the newspaper day after day. He rang at the door of a luxurious house. A governess answered the door. "Oh, another package. Who's this one from?" "Spav and Company wish well, bring it in." And she led Santa Claus down a corridor filled with tapestries, carpets, and majolica vases. Michelino, all eyes, followed his father. The governess opened a glass door. They entered a room with a high ceiling, so high that a great fir tree could fit beneath it. It was a Christmas tree lighted by glass bubbles of every color, and from its branches hung presents and sweets of every description. From the ceiling hung heavy crystal chandeliers, and the highest branches of the fir caught some of the glistening drops. Over a large table were arrayed glass, silver, boxes of candied fruit, and cases of bottles. The toys, scattered over a great rug, were as numerous as in a toy shop, mostly complicated electronic devices and model spaceships. On that rug, in an empty corner, there was a little boy about 9 years old, lying prone, with a bored, sullen look. He was leafing through an illustrated volume as if everything around him were no concern of his. "Gianfranco, look! Gianfranco," the governess said. "You see? Santa Claus has come back with another present." 312, the child sighed without looking up from his book. "Put it over there." "It's the 312th present that's arrived," the governess said. Gianfranco is so clever. He keeps count. He doesn't miss one. Counting is his great passion. On tiptoe, Marcovaldo and Michelino left the house. "Papa, is that little boy a poor child?" Michelino asked. Marcovaldo was busy rearranging the contents of the truck and didn't answer immediately. But after a moment, he hastened to protest. "Poor? What are you talking about? You know who his father is? He's the president of the Society for Implementation of Christmas Consumption. Commendatore." He broke off because he didn't see Michelino anywhere. "Michelino! Michelino, where are you?" He had vanished. "I bet he saw another Santa Claus go by, took him from me, and has gone off after him." Marcovaldo continued his rounds, but he was a bit concerned and couldn't wait to get home again. At home, he found Michelino with his brothers, good as gold. "Say, where did you go?" "I came home to collect our presents, the presents for that poor child." "What? Who?" "The one that was so sad, the one in the villa with the Christmas tree." "Him? What kind of a present could you give him?" "Oh, we fixed them up very nice. 3 presents, all wrapped in silver paper." The younger boy spoke up. "We all went together to take them to him. You should have seen how happy he was." "I'll bet," Marcovaldo said. "That was just what he needed to make him happy. Your presents." "Yes, ours." He ran over right away to tear off the paper and see what they were. And what were they? The first was a hammer, that big round hammer, the wooden kind. What did he do then? He was jumping with joy. He grabbed it and began to use it. How? He broke all the toys and all the glassware. Then he took the second present. Oh, what was that? A slingshot. You should have seen him. He was so happy. He hit all the glass balls on the Christmas tree. Then he started on the chandeliers. "That's enough. I don't want to hear any more." And the third present? We didn't have anything left to give, so we took him some silver paper and wrapped up a box of kitchen matches. That was the present that made him happiest of all. He said they never let me touch matches. He began to strike them and he set fire to everything. Marcovaldo was tearing his hair. "I'm ruined." The next day, turning up at work, he felt the storm brewing. He dressed again as Santa Claus, in great haste, loaded the presents to be delivered onto the truck, already amazed that no one had said anything to him, and then he saw, coming towards him, the 3 section chiefs, the one from public relations, the one from advertising, and the one from sales. "Stop," they said to him. "Unload everything at once." "This is it," Marcovaldo said to himself, and could already picture himself fired. "Hurry up! We have to change all the packages," the 3 section chiefs said. "The Society for the Implementation of Christmas Consumption has launched a campaign to push the destructive gift." "On the spur of the moment like this," one of the men remarked, "they might have thought of it sooner." "It was a sudden inspiration the president had," another chief explained. "It seems his little boy was given some ultra-modern gift articles, Japanese, I believe, and for the first time the children was obviously enjoying himself. The important thing," the third said, "is that the destructive gift serves to destroy articles of every sort. Just what's needed to speed up the pace of consumption and give the market a boost. All in minimum time and within a child's capacities. The president of the society sees a whole new horizon opening out. He's in 7th heaven. He's so enthusiastic." "But this child," Marcovaldo asked in a faint voice, "did he really destroy much stuff?" "It's hard to make an estimate, even a hazy one, because the house was burned down." Marcovaldo went back to the street, illuminated as if it were night, crowded with mamas and children and uncles and grannies and packages and balloons and rocking horses and Christmas trees and Santa Clauses and chickens and turkeys and fruit cakes and bottles and bagpipers and chimney sweets and vendors shaking pans of chestnuts all over around glowing black stoves. And the city seemed smaller, collected in a luminous vessel, buried in the dark heart of a forest, among the age-old trunks of the chestnut trees in an endless cloak of snow. Somewhere in the darkness the howl of the wolf was heard. The hares had a hole buried in the snow, in the warm red earth under a layer of chestnut burrs. A jack-hare came out, white, onto the snow. He twitched his ears, ran beneath the moon, but he was white and couldn't be seen, as if he weren't there. Only his little paws left a light print on the snow, like little clover leaves. Nor could the wolf be seen, for he was black and stayed in the black darkness of the forest. Only if he opened his mouth his teeth were visible, white and sharp. There was a line where the forest, all black, ended and the snow began, all white. The hare ran on this side and the wolf on that. The wolf saw the hare's prints on the snow and followed them, always keeping in the black so as not to be seen. At the point where the prints ended, there should be the hare, and the wolf came out of the black, opened wide his red maw and his sharp teeth, and bit the wind. The hare was a bit farther on, invisible. He scratched one ear with his paw and escaped, hopping away. Is he here? There? Is he a bit farther on? Only the expanse of snow could be seen, white as this page.